You're live.
Hi everyone. I hope you had a very good first round. We're now going to our first speaker. I will introduce the second and the third round after this short break. Our first speaker is Shan Shan Lim, who's joining me right now, as you can hopefully see. Hi Shan Shan.
Hi.
Welcome. Before I ask you a lot of questions, I quickly want to introduce why you're here. So, as most of you probably know by now, the Startup Buddy is gradually partnering with more and more organizations that provide services or solutions to startups. And we have just done that with Prudential as well. They offer a few very good perks and discounts. If you are a member on the platform and you haven't received your starter pack, please email us, then I'll make sure that you get it tomorrow or the day after, including what Prudential is offering. Shan Shan, let's go to you. Can you please tell me a little bit about yourself, who you are, and most important of all, why you're here?
Yep, sure. Thanks, Robin, for the brief introduction. Hi, everyone. I'm Shan Shan. I'm from Prudential, Singapore. So, I'm actually the SME Skills Manager. So, very honored to be here today. So, generally, what I do in my day-to-day or generally every day, it's to actually help small and medium enterprises or even startups to actually start building capabilities. Because I think, like the saying goes, you not only build the business, you need people to drive your business, and therefore you really need to invest in your people to really make sure that they have the correct capabilities and they have the skills to actually help to propel your business.
Exactly, and I'm gonna ask a couple of questions, but for anybody watching, if you have questions, you should on the right side of your screen see a Q&A option. If you drop your question there, I'll make sure that Shan Shan answers it. So please don't be shy, don't be Singaporean. Ask anything that you want to know. So as long as it's decent. So, Shan Shan, can you share a little bit why Prudential is even working on this? Because you've told me it's basically a collaboration between Prudential and Skills Future. Can you explain a little bit how that works and what you're doing in that respect?
Yep, sure. So thanks for the question. So I believe most of you all would be very familiar with Skills Future Singapore. Generally, the stat board that is always advocating for lifelong learning for you to upskill yourself. For Singaporeans and PRs, you can even get up to $1,500 credit into your personal kind of Skills Future credit for Singaporeans and PRs. And I think the good news is that for companies, because we do want companies or even startup founders to actually start investing in their people, there are up to 90% available subsidy to actually help to offset the cost. And there's also something called like absentee payroll, whereby some of the founders might feel that, hey, I'm sending my people for training that could be in terms of loss in productivity and man hours. So there's also available subsidies for that. And why Prudential is in this is because we are actually an exclusive partner with Skills Future Singapore under the Skills Future Queen Bee initiative. So if you haven't heard about it, it's generally as a step board, I think what they're trying to do is they can't be door knocking on every single co-founder's door or reaching to every single SME owner to say, hey, time to invest in your people. So therefore they work with Queen Bees like us to actually partner with us to reach out to more companies in Singapore to actually start upskilling their people. So this is actually an exclusive one, and we are honored to be the only insurer under this initiative itself as well.
Yeah, and what it actually does, or correct me if I'm wrong, but everybody not everybody, but most people who are here today, they're entrepreneurs. Basically, everybody who's running their startup, you are all aware by now that basically you're always behind in all the work that you need to do. So for the Singapore-based entrepreneurs, probably you have somewhere on your to-do list, look at Skills Future options, but you never get around to doing it. Now what this program basically does, somebody who understands the Skills Future program already will actually help you to figure out what is a good plan for your small team, because none of us, I myself, I don't have an HR department. So I don't have somebody to tell hey, figure this out for me. So basically, Prudential will help you do this together with you, which I personally think is a really cool program. You have interacted with a lot of entrepreneurs already around this. Can you maybe give a couple of examples of maybe misunderstandings that entrepreneurs might have about Skills Future, or ideas that maybe they cannot use it? Like what are things that you have come across that are misconceptions?
Yeah, I think firstly, with Prudential, sometimes they would think, especially this being a very new and exclusive partnership, they would think that I'm trying to it's like a value-added services that we really want to give to the startup community. I think one of the misconception that people would have is that upskilling is just only going for courses. So actually, when we talk about workplace learning, it's not just only about courses. In fact, only 10% of your learning comes from courses. 20% actually comes from social learning, which is whereby I think Startup Buddy is a good platform for you to exchange ideas, because I think I also hear from a lot of feedback from entrepreneurs to say that sometimes it's quite lonely at the top, especially if the issue is your employee, sometimes it's very hard to tell them that actually you are the issue. So yeah, it's a good networking platform as well. So 20% actually comes from social learning and 70% actually come from workplace learning. So it's really all the experiences that they actually help to do during work. So for example, let's say if you are pitching for Series A, Series B, it's really that experience that really you get the most out of all the learning. It's not about the cost. And I think the second misconception is that I go for a course and tomorrow, yes, I miraculously know how to do it. Which is tough. It's not that today, for example, let's say I go onto a crash course. I think a lot of y'all are tech experts here, but for me, I'm not technically trained in a way. Like I can't code to save more for my life. So today doesn't mean that I go for a 3-hour or 3 full days of masterclass and boot camp, and then miraculously, yes, I might know how to code. I might know basic coding language, but I think a lot is in terms of application of skills. So really putting the skills into your daily work, I think that is where you really value add yourself as an employee, as well as from a co-founder perspective, is that investing in your people, you really see the returns in terms of the business impact. And I think recently we have also partnered with a few startups within our ecosystem. So I think what we really supported them is from a point of more core critical skills. So I think for most of the startup, particularly for maybe more tech startups, no issues with your technical issues. I mean, y'all can code and probably write the prettiest codes of all, and maybe even do ethical hacking into my computer now. But I think what's really lacking that we see is in terms of the ability to present, because I think then besides the founder itself, ideally, yes, the founder is the face of the company, but you hope that someone could also present on behalf of you, because I think for founders, you only have 24 hours a day. There are so many features that you can run by yourself. So it's really, if you want to grow your business, you really need to empower your people with like critical thinking skills like basic, or even design innovation skills, really thinking out of the box to say, how can we position it to meet current existing gaps in the market, or even help to smooth out current processes, for example. So I think that is the second part. The third part actually that I would like to talk about in terms of when we work with startups, the support is not into technical skills. It's really into more of soft skills about how they can present better, how they can even collaborate better, or how can they even understand their customers better.
Mm-hmm. I'm actually not too aware of a few of the things that you're mentioning at the moment. Can you, for example, presenting, right? I totally recognize what you're saying. I'm always the one, having to present. What is something that maybe other entrepreneurs that recognize that problem could potentially do?
Yeah, so I think this is also a good time for me to shout out for any other Q&As in case you have any questions.
Yes.
I think Robin has also kindly shared that his pains of he's presenting 24/7 and repeating the same presentation. Hopefully there's another of him, or at least 80%. So I think some of it, I mean online learning is something that you definitely can do. I mean, I'm not saying that. In fact, micro learning, which is like going for master classes, going for boot camp, is probably the fastest way. But I think the challenge is always like putting it into practice, like really going for a real course, like I mean, not just sitting there and consuming, telling you that, okay, my intonation is not good, like I'm too fast, too much hand gestures, too messy. So I think when you go for a proper course, I'll call a more proper course, you really get very, very valuable feedback. So even I myself, I went for a public speaking course. So now I'm more conscious about the speed of my delivery, my hand gestures, it doesn't move everywhere. So I think these are things that, founders can really consider investing in their people to actually make sure that, if you want to grow your business, you can't be the only one presenting. They need to upskill themselves as well. And even you yourself can lead as an example to even go into training such as like blue ocean strategies or even, design thinking and stuff.
Yeah. I think another misconception that I came across is that actually Skills Future programs are only for old people like myself, which is in startups usually not the problem. It's more the other way around. Like most of the team is too young. But I understood from you that's also not the case. There's really a lot of options. So if you have a company in Singapore, make sure that you try to leverage on this because it's basically investing in your company in a long-term, smart way. I haven't seen any questions come in yet. We have 1 or 2 more minutes. So if anybody has a question, please let us know. Purely, I know that you're mostly working on the Skills Future part of Prudential. But could you maybe share for 1 or 2 minutes also a little bit why it's useful to look at insurance from a startup perspective?
Yeah, I think in terms of insurance for a startup perspective, I think one key insurance that we always look at is key man insurance. Because like what Robin mentioned, if your founder is the face of the company and touch wood, anything happens, I mean, I'm not trying to scare anyone here, but it's really important because the whole business is really dependent on that phase. I mean, operationally, perhaps the founder could still try to support or maybe your staff could try to support, but I think key man insurance is really something that it's really important to really actually insure at least the founder. And I think currently for in terms of insurance, we are also looking at coverage for employees. So that is also something that actually helps in terms of talent retention and talent recruitment, because I think with most of the Gen Y and Gen Z, I think I'm an interviewer myself. Sometimes some of the questions that they ask will be like, hey, what's my medical benefit? And then when you realize that you don't really have a medical benefit for them, it is a little bit tough, especially if it's something that really makes a difference. Or let's say if you are looking for experience hire, like let's say you are not looking for like new entrance into the workforce, you are looking for experience hire. This is something that they would commonly ask. I mean, not saying that they might have pre-existing conditions, but there are some coverage that actually corporate insurance could actually cover in terms of ensuring that your employees at least have the basic healthcare. I think it's really important for startups to actually show that I care about your employees and I care about your health. That's why I'm actually willing to invest in your health benefits.
Yeah, I think that's very good to realize for a lot of entrepreneurs. There's other things that you can look at to attract people to work for you, basically, other than the salary itself. And this might be, I mean, it's a serious problem for a lot of startups, right? We're competing with big companies here. So, and competing on salary is not always an option, but maybe good benefits like these can help you pull in that person that you're trying to convince. So, Shan Shan, I know time is flying really quickly by. So we have to wrap it up here, but thank you very much for sharing, and also, of course, for you and your colleagues from Prudential for working together with the Startup Buddy and supporting our members. We're going to the second round of the individual meetings. So one reminder for everybody, it works the same as the previous round, except that the idea is that you're now having one-to-one conversations, so not as a group. Hopefully you've seen 1 or 2 people in the previous round that you want to go into more depth with about co-founding or about mentoring or about, in case of Shan Shan, working together. that's what the next 20 minutes is for. It's 6 o'clock right now in Singapore. So the second round will be till 20 minutes past 6. And then we see you back here for our next speaker. Enjoy. Thank you very much, Shan Shan.
Thank you, Robin.